Hi, I here. This is a reading for the sign of Libra. We're going to do a Celtic cross spread with the Thoth deck, and what we see on the bottom of the deck is going to represent what you don't see coming. And once we get an idea of what the general message of this reading is going to be, we're going to pull 3 cards from the shadow deck to see what's going on in your subconscious and to see if there are any further clarifications we might need. So let's just see what happens. Okay, so today we are tuning in to the sign of Libra. So if that is your sun, your moon, or your rising sign, or however else you wish to identify today with the sign of Libra, you can use that as a way of interpreting the messages that are coming through. And as always, if the details of these messages do not seem to fit, that's okay. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And if none of the details are really seeming to match your life or your situation, that's okay. You can always check your other placements, or you can stick around and see what's going on in the world of other Libras. So let's see what messages come through today. What things should we think about? Are there things that we should meditate upon? Things we should put our focus into? Are there any warnings that we need to see? Things that we should look out for? Things perhaps we should try to avoid putting our energy into? Are there things perhaps we should move towards? Things that would benefit us? Things that can make our lives a little happier, a little smoother, whatever it is that you're looking for in your situation. Are there positive things that we can move towards? What things can we tap into and learn today for those who are trying to connect with the energy of the sign of Libra? What messages will our Celtic cross share with us? So let's see what we get. Okay, feels good. All right, so we begin in the present moment with the Queen of Swords. Perhaps you've got some difficult truths that you need to face. You need to take a good look, perhaps in the mirror or even just around you, and get a better sense of what your life really is right now. What are you trying to accomplish? Where are you trying to go? Are things really as they seem? Are there difficult truths that you need to own up to? Things that you perhaps know are the case but are afraid to look more closely at? That's the energy I'm getting in the present. Let's see what crosses it. Well, there is a very free and excited flowing energy. Perhaps you're in a state where you want to just let go. You just want to let life be as it is. You want to embrace your passions. You want to connect with something that really fires you up. But perhaps there is a difficult truth to face regarding whatever that is that you want to give yourself to. And there we have an 8 of Cups, a 3 of Swords, a 2 of Cups, a 3 of Cups, all this water energy. There's a 5 of Swords. There is a Chariot, Lust, and there is the 2 of Swords. Okay, I think I get what's happening here. All right, let's see what we have. So, in terms of major arcana, we have the Chariot and we have the Lust card. Okay. We have for court cards, we have a Queen of Swords and we have a Princess of Wands. And in terms of our other suits, there is no earth energy on the table. Let's see, we've got a little air with the 3 and the 2 and the 5. That's a decent bit of air there. We have for our water a decent bit of water, right? We have a 2, an 8, a 3, and okay. And I also needed to include there with the swords the queen, of course. So we've got a fair bit of air, a little bit of water to soothe it, just a tad of fire, right? Because we just have the Princess of Wands, and then of course the fire that comes along with the Lust card itself. So okay, definitely thinking through some heavy things. I think you're trying to process some emotions. That's what's happening here. So with the Queen of Swords in your present energy, you are trying to look closely at things that are difficult for you to look at, but you know you need to do so. You need to analyze some very painful emotions. And I think you are conflicted because your passions are pulling you in one way and your mind is pulling you in another. And your emotions are just kind of sloshing around along with that. So you're not letting a lot of that fiery passion forward. It's still kind of staying subdued for the most part. In fact, we'll get there as we go through the reading, but the challenge is the lust card. So the things that you're really passionate and excited about, I think you're challenged by trying to keep those under control because you realize the truth of the situation of what going towards those passions might mean. Okay, so you're trying to be practical, but there is a call that is pulling you in one direction, and you really want to give into that call, but you realize that it's not good for you. So even though this is the energy you want to be embodying, I mean, look how exciting that looks. It's a flame just giving forth to that source of passionate fire. Again, the challenge here, I think, is dealing with this kind of energy. With the Queen of Swords there, you're trying to really get your head around the truth that this may not be good for you. It might be fun, it might be exciting, but it may not be good for you. It might be good for you, but I think you're at least telling yourself that it's not good for you. Whether that's true or not depends on your situation, but you're definitely trying to temper that fire because you're trying to do what you think is best for yourself. Now, we have in the past, the recent past, we have an Eight of Cups. So, whatever the fire of this situation is, I think that is you letting that kind of just walking away from it. It's not necessarily that it ended so much as you decided, I got to get away from this. There was some cup that was not feeling right. It might have felt good, but it didn't feel right. And so you decided that it was time to sort of take a step away from that and to look for other things. And so then I think as you did that walking away, then you started really thinking about where this situation had left you. And that's where we have now entered into the Queen of Swords sort of mode of thinking about where our feelings have sort of left us now. Right, we have these cups from our past, and those cups are never really fully emptied or cleaned out. I mean, you can walk away from a situation, but you've always got that sort of lingering memory of what that was in your past. And then perhaps this Princess of Wands could also represent some other newer passion that you've tried to tap into that is different from whatever that past cup was. Perhaps maybe there was a void left behind by the Eight of Cups that you then try to fill in with a new exciting Princess of Wands sort of passion. But again, the Queen of Swords is you reflecting upon the hard truths of the situation and trying to really make sense of it all. I mean, you're Libra, you're trying to get everything in balance. You're looking at all the different sides of something, and it's really difficult for you to process that. But you have to. Because what really seems to be the general vibe from all of these cards here is a feeling of stuck because there's things that need to be looked at and dealt with that are not. And that is why in the near future we have the Three of Swords, which people like to say that this is a card of heartbreak, and it can be, but it's not a card from the suit of cups. It's not feeling. This is not a card of emotions. This is a card of more painful truths. This is a card of analyzing a wound with your mental energy. The swords are your thoughts. And that flower that is sort of fragmented there is some broken experience that was not easy to handle or process. And those swords are really doing a little bit of surgery there to pick at what happened and to extract some lesson from the situation. So whatever you walked away from with your Eight of Cups, the Three of Swords is you sitting there and re-evaluating that situation and trying to learn lessons from how things went down in the past. So the Queen of Swords is the energy of trying to begin a healing process of analyzing what has happened. The Three is the actual extraction of those lessons that will lead you into the future. Okay, so this is walking behind, processing, and learning some sort of lesson from those difficult realities. Now, we've got the Princess of Wands that's crossing you here. And again, this could either be what is sort of tempting you or something that is filling the void as you're going through this process. The Princess of Wands is fantastic. I mean, it's a good card, but it can also, let's make sure it's not a distraction from the reality of whatever it is you're trying to process here. Because underneath all of this is the card of love, unions, connections. This is true emotional, pure emotional connection with something. So I think that's what you are striving for. That is what is your sort of, it's the fire in your engine, is that you are wanting to connect with someone or something very deeply. You want a real connection. And I think why we have the Eight of Cups in the past is there was some sort of thing you were connected to that didn't quite fit or didn't feel right, like I said. And you're looking for truth here. Truth that is the real stuff, right? You want the good stuff when it comes to love. You don't want cheap thrills. I mean, the Princess of Wands, like I said, she's fun, but she is just passion, right? Just excitement. And you're not looking just for excitement, you're looking for love. And maybe that is something that you have found in whatever this Princess of Wands is. Because, I mean, we go from the 2 up here to the 3, which is beautiful, right? The 3 is expansion of whatever that element represents. So if we have a 2 of Cups down at the bottom and we're moving up into a 3, whatever the connection is that's fueling you on the inside, you are trying to reach out and expand that feeling with other people in the world. You are trying to share the love that you have inside you that you really want to feel. You're wanting to connect with other people and not just you feel connected to them. You want there to be some sort of reciprocation of that. And then there needs to be an acknowledgement and a celebration of that beautiful connection. That's where going from the 2 to the 3 is. It's taking this idea, this idealization of love, which I don't mean that in like a fantasy sense. Like, this is the true power of love here. But then extending that and growing that and having that be something that surrounds you as well as something that you feel within you. That's what's really guiding you on this vertical axis. It's all about love. And that's why here, right, we've got a little bit of water and air, and here we've got all water. This Queen of Wands, or excuse me, Queen of Swords is the intersection of the water and the air, right? This is the trying to intellectualize how to get these sort of connections that you are sort of emotionally and spiritually feeling, but are struggling with getting in your actual physical world, and you're trying to wrap your head around that. So that's this energy of wanting to reach this loving energy and trying to figure out through your thinking how to make that happen. And perhaps that's why the intersection here is the Princess of Wands. I mean, maybe when your heart and your mind sort of hit that sweet spot, that's when you really feel that fiery passion for life that you're really reaching out for. I mean, the Princess of Wands may not be a person. It may just be this perfect sweet spot that you can hit as you're trying to reach that middle ground of your thought and your mind and your heart, right? When the heart is sort of connected with the mind, it almost like creates a fiery energy of that's where the spark of really passionate love can come from. I think is kind of what's happening here. So that's what we're looking for. But your present energy is not positive. I'm not going to beat around the bush. You are in a state of defeat. I mean, look at that. That doesn't look fun. I mean, those are some cool colors, right? There's definitely some interesting edges to whatever this is for you. I just really like that mix of colors there is nice, despite the fact that this is not a very nice card. It's an interesting card, maybe. It's the better way to think of this. And so with this defeat, this is your mind. As I said, you're trying to use your thoughts to make sense of your heart, and this is where you are presently, and it's not going well. You are trying to find this love that you're looking for, and I think this is representative of you getting almost obsessed about that idea to the point of I must win at all cost. And that is a line that's often attributed to this Five of Swords, is winning at all cost. And when you let your mind be too much in control of what you're dealing with, then it puts you in this state of detachment from yourself. And you start to lose touch with the emotional energy that was propelling you in the first place. The mind is sort of taken over instead of the heart. Rather than being in that sweet spot that you're looking for, this is too much air energy, right? We went from a 3, which was constructive but painful. Now we're at a 5, which is another odd number. This is active air that is not feeling good, because it's almost pulling us too much in a direction that is not necessarily where we want to go. Which is interesting. I say that, where we want to go, because the next card is the Chariot. This is where you want to get to. We want to go towards love. We want to go towards positive experiences of connecting with other people. And when I say love, this doesn't have to be romantic. This is just connecting and really, feeling a bond with other people. It can be romantic. It could be familial. It can be friendship. It's just connecting on an emotional level. And you want to do that. And I think in this state of defeat, you're feeling restless and ready to move on to the next best thing. Maybe not the next, I don't mean it that way. Moving on to something better than where you're at right now. You want to get out of this space. Okay? Notice there is not a 4 of Swords here. You're not wanting to sit and rest and think on this anymore. You want to move on. We went straight from a 3 to a 5. We're not sitting around, analyzing things and trying to recover. We're like, screw this. I'm going to do something about it. And that's why here in your environment you have the Chariot. So this is that love that you have inside of you that you want to give and share with other people. But the only way to do that is the Chariot's got to get going. The engine's got to get started. And if the engine is fueled by love, more air energy is not going to propel you forward. We're not riding around on a sailboat here, right? This is a chariot. It needs fire and it needs a little bit of water to come into a nice, perfect alignment. Water to keep the engine under control, and fire to keep the thing moving forward, which is, again, why I think it's really nice that we have the Princess of Wands here in our intersection of air and water. That's the fuel that we need. A little bit of air, right? I mean, this is really a card about getting everything in balance so that you can move forward. Okay, I mean, it could mean a lot of people attribute this card to taking a trip. I mean, maybe you do need to take a trip. Maybe you need to take a little bit of a break from your day-to-day routines, get away from things, get your get your head cleared, not your hair cleared. Get your head cleared and get some new perspective on things, and maybe that'll help you sort of get back in alignment with what it is you're trying to accomplish. Okay? So that's what we want to do. We want to move forward. We want to learn from what we've done, and we want to reach out towards things that are a little bit more positive for us and not get stuck in our negative headspace about, what could or should have happened, sort of thing. Okay, we want to, if this really is the 8 of Cups, then when you walk away from something like that, you know it's the right thing to do, even if it is painful. So, now, as I said before, our challenge is the Lust card. I think there is a little bit of temptation to... I feel this is sort of fill the void. I mean, I know that might normally be more of a devil card type of energy, but I feel like the challenge here is the Lust card. Actually, now that I look at this and think a little bit about it, I kind of feel like perhaps the challenge of the Lust card is not so much of distraction. I think the challenge of the Lust card is really more of you needing to get back in touch with your power, which is interesting because there's all this water energy, which feels very passive, and this air energy that is very sort of almost inwardly pointing and negative. And you want to have this energy of the Chariot to move forward. I think the challenge here is getting back in touch with feeling strong. I mean, this is the Strength card in the Rider-Waite deck. And so I think the idea is that you are not feeling like you have the power to really move towards the things that you're really wanting to move towards. And that's why that's the challenge. And above all of that, at the final stage here with the Two of Swords is, I mean, it's a feeling of stuck. I mean, maybe there's a choice you're trying to make. Maybe there's a situation you're trying to figure out how to deal with. And your challenge is learning to not let your head control you to the point of inaction, but also using the strength of both your mind and your heart and your passion to help propel you forward towards the things that you think are really going to be the best for you. Like I said, your goal is really love at the end of the day, and you want to expand that love. So you're trying to figure out what's the right choice that's going to make me feel this emotional connection as fully and authentically as possible. And I think there's almost a fear of having to decide on what to do. I mean, you're not stuck in a mode of, I want to quietly sit and think about this, but I mean, almost maybe you need to be. If the two is your challenge and you're stuck at a deadlock, maybe you do need to sort of expand that situation in terms of like looking more broadly at what's going on and really getting in touch with all the pieces of what is at play here. Again, think about how you feel about your situations. Think about how you think about your situations. Careful, that can be an infinite regress for sure. Think about what you're passionate about. There's absolutely no earth energy here because this is not nothing in here is really seems to be about finances or practicality. This is about your heart and your mind and your passions and what you really, really want. So maybe zoom out a little bit and take a little bit of time. You know, don't get too restless. I mean, I know you feel defeated and you want to take action, but maybe take a short step backwards into the energy of the Four of Swords so that you can retune your chariot. And once you get that you know, the vehicle that is you back in its tip-top shape, then you'll be able to feel that strength and overcome that challenge, and you'll be able to make the decision you really need to make at the end of the day. So that's what I'm getting from this is, you know, take a step back, reflect, but don't let your mind be the only person at play here as you're making these decisions. Let your heart guide you as well. What is your heart telling you? What are you passionate about? And then blend those two things together with the mind. Right? Though with the intersection thing I said earlier, maybe it's more of listen to your heart, think with your mind, put the two together, and that's how you'll discover what you're really passionate about. Yeah, I like that. Get in touch with your heart, let your mind help you make sense of that, but not too much. And then when you get those two things in balance, that's when you're going to find what you're really, truly passionate about, and you'll know how to break through this deadlock of a Two of Swords. So what do you not see coming? I said it right there. You get back in, your passion will come back. It's the intersection of your heart and your mind. When those get in perfect alignment, you'll be able to get that strength, that power, that passion with you, and that'll be able to fuel your chariot so you can break through the gate. That is like, it's, you know, you're stuck in a like a gated situation. You're in a car and you're like, well, the gate won't open. Well, let's just power through it. But let's not power through it blindly. Let's let our heart and our minds be the vehicle that's allowing us to plow through that deadlock. Okay. So that was pretty cool. All right, let's see what the shadow deck has for us. So yeah, I mean, this isn't easy. You're definitely dealing with some heavy things. Definitely got some baggage here, but process it. I mean, this is about processing in a constructive way. Don't let your thoughts pull you into negative places. Do not ignore difficult thoughts, but don't let them pull you in negative places. Let your heart, your water energy inside of you be something that can kind of help you heal those difficult thoughts as they're coming up. You know, when you're thinking about things and it's like, I don't want to hear that, I don't want to think about that. Let your heart sort of tell you it's okay to feel this way, and it'll be a little bit easier to get past those difficult blockages. That's what I mean by getting your heart and your mind in tune. Do the work, but do that work with a very open and receptive and loving energy, and you will feel a lot better about what it is you're processing. And once you do that processing, then you'll get back in touch with your power, and you will be good to go and ready to start new passionate things. You'll get a much more clearer view of what you're dealing with. All right, so the shadow deck has for us 4 of Wands. Okay, that's good. Ace of Swords, yeah, and 3 of Swords. So, yeah, like I said, you need to do, as they say, you need to do some shadow work. You need to cut through whatever it is that's inside of you and start poking around in there. Look at those difficult things. Whatever you may be sort of putting on the back burner and saying, I don't really want to think about it, start thinking about it. Look at those difficult things, analyze them, do that difficult work, and it's going to hurt. It's not going to feel good, but again, like I said, let that water energy sort of do a sort of like healing, soothing, like just let it take off the edge a little bit. And then you'll be able to get back in touch with this fire energy that you're feeling a little bit out of tune with, you're wanting to move towards, but it's like it's almost held back. You'll be able to rebuild a stronger, passionate structure in your mind where the love that you feel will not just be a sort of feeling or an ideal of what you want to have. You'll actually have like a feeling of like a warm infrastructure inside of you. Like I'm thinking of like your mind is like this dark space, and you need to clean that space out like it's like an old dirty closet or something. Clean all that junk out. That's what this is. And then once you've cleaned that out, then you can start to build a new, stronger structure inside of it that's built on what it is that you really care about and are really passionate about. And again, this will hurt, but let water be the fuel that helps you. High Priestess. Well, that's interesting. Huh. I guess then maybe as well as all of this is going down, take some time to listen to your intuition. Maybe that is also telling, maybe that this is perhaps saying, you know, don't just use the energy of air. Don't just use your intellect as you're doing this clearing out. In some sense, maybe the mixing of air and water can kind of be thought of as this intuitive air energy. It's like, I'm almost feeling like icicles, right? They're swords that are made of water that are sharp, but then they can also be sort of melted down. And I'm getting a vibe that that's kind of like how you should sort of vision your intuition. So poke around in your thoughts, but poke around with something that will both be constructive in terms of clearing away the junk, but will also be a healing process as well. And the reason I'm getting that as a vibe for your intuition, because it's air energy that eventually melts away. And your intuition, it can feel a little bit like you're using logic when you're tapping into intuition, but it's not. It's different. It's more fluid than air, right? Swords are sharp and rigid. Intuition is it's malleable as well as being very like pointed at the same time. So that's why I'm getting a vibe of like icicles. So don't just be poking around with like sharp needles. You're gonna hit things that are gonna hurt. Be a little gentle. Let your intuition sort of guide where you go through this process of looking inside of yourself. And I think it'll be a little bit more constructive than if you just like, you know, sort of break down the door and start like slashing through all the junk, right? Let it be a little bit more of a sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Use a little bit more finesse than that. And that's what I think the High Priestess is telling you to do. But yeah, tap into your intuition. Use it to clean out the negative spaces in your mind. Let go of bad things from your past. As always, you know, let go of things that don't serve you. And once you've done that work, you'll be able to overcome whatever this is that's challenging you. So I hope that you're able to get through this constructively. And yeah, that's all I have for you today, Libra. I hope this was helpful or enjoyable. But yeah, that's all I have. If there, as always, if there are other messages that have come through with these images or other or different messages that come through from what I'm saying, use your intuition to receive the messages as you need to receive them. But yeah, I hope I was able to help facilitate that process in some way. So As always, please like and subscribe. If there's anything you would like to share, any feedback or comments you would like to give, please put those in the comments below. And if there's anyone that you know that would appreciate and or benefit from this or any of my videos, please feel free to share them as you see fit. But yeah, Libra, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and good luck with whatever this difficult situation is you're dealing with.